Hi there, Misfits. This is Kate.
And this is Kevin.
Welcome to Horrorwood. That was very
horror.
I don't know. I went somewhere with that.
I like it. I like where you took that.
Thank you so much.
Can I tell you a quick story at the top here?
Obviously.
Amazing. All right. So the other day, I go to work. I go to the office. I have my, those tan pants I have.
Yeah, like
that
khakis?
I wear the khaki ones
Okay.
I wear all the time. I sit down in my chair and bang, rips all the way from the hip down to the ankle.
Your pants?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Not the pants.
I was like, no. And I was just, because I reached over. I was like, why is it cold? What's going on? And I was like, what do? I don't have any clothes with me.
Because why would you?
Right. I don't carry extra pairs of pants around.
Although
now
not a bad
I will.
idea.
I'll put a pair in my car. But I was at the office, and while I don't work with people inside the office, it's usually just me. I still have to walk around that block of suites to go to the bathroom to get lunch, make dinner. Sorry, heat up something in the microwave. And so I was like, well, fuck. And so I just walked around with my legs split open.
But you kept the other pant leg on.
I did.
Okay.
I was like, worst case scenario, I'll use one of our black linen cloths that we have.
And just wrap it
and
around
just wrap
yourself.
it around my waist.
You could do a cape and make it a choice.
See, now I should have thought harder about it. So I rush ordered a pair of sweatpants.
Oh my God.
Dude, it was a whole thing.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Well, my pants didn't split open, but my thumb did. Because it's so fucking dry that my skin is like alligator.
Oh.
And I looked down earlier today. You can see the dried blood, but I was
can see it
why?
From here.
I was like, why is there just a pool of blood running down behind my nail? Gnarly.
Awful.
Yucca.
Does it hurt?
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love it. But what I do love is the fact that we have a new Patronian.
Yay!
Melody Reyes.
Hey, Melody Reyes.
Hey, girl. Thank you so much. She's a new Misfit Murderino. And we love you. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, and for throwing some support our way.
Yeah, you're the best.
And speaking of Patronians, we have to shout out Glenn Heppard once again. We've shouted him out before because he joined back in November, I believe it was. He just upped the pledge even more, which is bananas.
Glenn, you're a queen. We love you.
And Glenn, maybe you're a king. Maybe you're a king and a queen.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. That's true, Kate. Thank you for saying that. You are just royalty.
Also, Glenn, because of your very generous donation or pledge, I guess is what they're called.
Pledge, yeah.
Keep an eye on your mailbox because we need to properly thank you.
Right, we're gonna send you something.
So, I don't know that he would want us to share the amount, but it was very generous and more than we've ever received. And so, I saw that and I was like, holy shit!
Damn.
So thank you to Glenn and Melody and everyone who supports us on Patreon and Apple subscriptions because we've got some people over there.
Yay.
And we do have the YouTube subscriptions. We have the audio files. I just have to put a graphic up to make it a video file, blah, blah, blah. So I've got several drafted now in YouTube, and I'm probably going to do just one massive, put them all out once I've got them loaded in. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I might release a few before I get everything done, just so you guys have something.
Yeah.
But something to keep your eye on. It's a new subscription platform for us. So we're working it all out. In completely unrelated news, I met our new neighbors today.
How did it go? Great.
I met them in the garage because I was walking Frankie, and then we came in through the back, and they were in their car headed out. So it was a very quick, hi, I'm Kate, and they introduced themselves. And I think tomorrow we're going to have them up here and have a proper introduction and then just go over building stuff and, all that kind of thing. But yeah, that's right, Misfits. I have new neighbors. I can no longer say Luke and Michael from downstairs because Luke and Michael from downstairs are no longer downstairs. They're no longer in this state. It is the end of an era. It was a sad time for all of us because Frankie lost her best buddy, Abby, their dog, and we lost, two of our friends. So we wish them well. I think they're loving their new place and, their new city. And so, guys, if you're listening, shout out to Luke and Michael from No Longer Downstairs. That's the news. But the new people seem great.
Great. Do they have a dog?
They do.
Yay.
And she's about the same size that the guy's dog was.
Yay.
So that's a good size for Frankie, I think.
Okay.
Because Frankie's very small.
Yeah, she can handle it.
Yeah, she can handle it. Misfits, we're wondering if you can handle something.
Ooh.
We, as you know, have been trying to get people to write in their own tales. So we've decided to throw out topics for you guys, every week or other week or however long we feel like it. We'll give you a new topic to write about. Take all the time you need to write it in. You don't have to get it in that week. It's just an idea for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a topic for a Misfit Monday tale. Do you want to talk about it? Because you came up with it.
Yeah, I will. Absolutely. So
okay. You sounded so excited about it.
Let's get into it. We're looking for stories around if someone close to you passes away. Have you ever had any kind of experience afterwards with that? Whether that, I'll give you an example in a second, but whether that's, something coincidental happening, being reminded of them in a really personable way. Let me give an example. My mom's cousin, Kevin, who I am named after, passed away a while ago. I want to say this was probably 12, 13 years ago.
Okay. You said that she was really close with him.
She was really close.
I mean, obviously she named her son after him.
Right. Really close. I believe he was living in Detroit at the time that this happened. I was in Parkersburg with my mom in her apartment. It was late-ish at night. We were sitting at the dining room table, just kind of chatting back and forth.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden, this distant voice really eerily and weirdly yelled, Carolyn. And that's my mom's name.
Yeah.
And we looked up at the same time and locked eyes with each other.
So you both
heard it. And she goes, did someone just yell my name? And I said, I think so. That sounded like someone crying your name.
Oh, God.
And she was like, that's really strange. That's really weird. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I don't know what that was, whatever. So we just kind of went on about our evening.
Yeah.
And then the next day, my mom gets a phone call that the night before Kevin passed away.
That is wild. So the night that you heard that voice.
The night that we heard the voice was the night that he died. Isn't that wild?
That is.
But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing we're thinking of.
And we've had a couple of stories from our listeners similar to that. So we would love more. We know that people out there have those. If you're open to sharing them, also let us know if we can say your name when you write in. Just because some people might want to hear their story read, but might not necessarily want the entire world to know who it was.
Oh, so, yeah. If you want to keep it, change names.
Whatever. Yeah. And we could do just first name. We'll probably just do first names only.
Oh, totally. Totally.
But yeah, so send in your stories. Again, you don't have to get them in before the next episode comes out. We just want to give you guys some ideas, get you thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your first topic.
Love.
Get that pen to paper. Get those
Fingers
fingertips
to the keyboard.
I know, as soon as I said pen to paper, I was like, nobody's going to do that.
If you do write it out, scan it, and then send it as an attachment.
I mean, you could. All right, are we ready to get into this?
Yes.
I have a question for you. Are you familiar with the name Bobby Fuller?
No.
If you don't know his name, my guess is you will know at least one of his hit songs. I fought the law and the law won.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the song that blew up. You might also know Let Her Dance. It's featured in the Wes Anderson film Fantastic Mr. Fox. Well, there she goes with a brand new love affair, dancing with him like she don't even care. So I put that little factoid in because my oldest niece is a huge Wes Anderson fan.
Wow.
So, girl, that was for you.
Yay.
His songs have been used for decades. They've been covered many times. They've been used in films, etc. You know, and actually, let me back up. I will say I thought the law, he didn't write that. It was written by another person. We're going to talk all about it.
Great.
But that his version is the one that became popular. And then tons of people have covered it since him. Bobby Fuller was a rock and roll star in the 1960s. And if he hadn't met an untimely death at the age of just 23, you probably would have had a different answer when I asked, are you familiar with the name Bobby Fuller?
Damn.
I will go ahead and tell you, this is an unsolved case.
No.
It was even featured on Unsolved Mysteries many years ago. So remember when we were talking last week and I was like, the episode's really long. I need to edit it down. I need to like rein it in. Well, I did my editing and now it's longer and now it's a two-parter. Sorry.
Listen, I knew it was coming. Whenever you tell me you're working on something and you're like, there's just so much, I'm like, yes.
I really thought I could get it in one, but then
I'm not shaming you. This is I love it. I love a two-parter.
I feel like some of the listeners love it because they like something to look forward to if they are already like halfway through a story. I know that it's not everyone's thing, and I do apologize, but like if I tried to make this into one, it was just going to be surface level, like throwing it all together quickly to try to get a complete story out.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't tell the whole story in like an hour.
Okay.
There's a lot. All right. This year, 2026, marks the 60th anniversary of Bobby's death. The people who were around him at that time, if they're still alive, are in their 80s and older now. So unless someone gives a deathbed confession about what really happened to him, there's a good chance we'll never truly know who killed Bobby Fuller.
Whoosh.
In the days leading up to his death, Bobby was feeling frustrated. He and his 3 bandmates, together they were known as the Bobby Fuller 4, had just come off an exhausting tour throughout the U.S. Their last performances were in San Francisco, but the weather hadn't been great. It'd been foggy and rainy, and their performances weren't publicized very well, like at all. Like the clubs that they were performing in, like did no marketing.
Oh man, come on.
So there wasn't a huge turnout for the shows.
Yeah.
Which was disappointing, obviously. Bobby and his younger brother, Randy, who was also in the band, they'd been fighting a lot. And the guys were all just tired and just like ready to be off the road and like get back home, get back in the studio.
Yeah.
So Bobby actually ended up breaking the contract for those San Francisco shows, and the group headed back to Los Angeles, just eager for a few days off. Bobby's bandmates could sense that change was coming for the group. The drummer, Dalton Powell, wanted to return to Texas, where he was from, to be with his wife and family. Guitarist Jim Reese had received a draft notice to fight in the Vietnam War.
Oh, God.
And Bobby was making noise about looking to sign with a new label, maybe checking out like a different city. And Randy, his brother who played bass, was feeling uneasy, thinking that this could be it for him if Bobby decided to go solo or to get new bandmates.
I see. And
one thing about Bobby was he was always trying out new bandmates, like from the time he was a kid, because he started forming bands early. And no one's job was ever really safe. It didn't feel like.
Okay.
But he would also use the same people over and over again. So like if this person had to take a few months off or whatever, he could very well bring them back in once they were ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In those few days off between the San Francisco gigs and Bobby's death, Bobby was in good spirits. According to literally everyone who was around him, some of his friends from El Paso, where he'd lived before moving to LA, had come out to visit him. So they were hanging out. They drove around Hollywood together. Bobby was showing them the sights. And one of those friends, Robin Vinikoff, said Bobby was in a great mood. Rick Stone, the band's road manager and a longtime friend of Bobby's, they'd known each other for years, said that the day before Bobby died, he'd told Rick, quote, "I don't know what's going to happen," like meaning with the band.
Sure.
"Everything is confused right now, but don't worry, you've got a job with me if you want it." With Jim Reese inevitably heading off to war, he offered to sell Bobby his Jaguar, a hot little sports car.
Ooh, Jaguar.
A Jaguar XKE, I guess.
Hey,
And I'm sure that's very fancy.
Oh my gosh.
And Bobby was excited. For one, he loved cars. He geeked out over cars. And 2, aside from the band's tour van that they used to like transport their equipment, he didn't have a car of his own. He used his mom's Oldsmobile when he needed to go places.
Got it.
So Bobby and Jim made plans for Monday, July 18th, 1966 to make the sales transaction for the Jaguar. Also that day, the band had a morning recording session scheduled just to finish work on a few songs that they had started recording in the studio. And it's assumed that they would also use this session to discuss with their manager, Bob Keane, the future of the band.
I see.
Everyone showed up for the session on time, except for Bobby.
Oh, no.
That was unheard of. He was nothing if not professional.
Okay.
Everyone waited around wondering, like, where the heck is he? Lunchtime rolls around. There's still no sign of him. So the guys, they get some fast food burgers. They eat lunch, and they keep waiting. They didn't know what else to do at that point. Bobby was, like, the leader of the pack. And he never missed a session. And Jim's like, well, he was really excited about buying my car. Like, I know he's eager to drive it. Like, this is weird. So they just continued waiting at the studio until finally that afternoon, about 6 hours after the session had been scheduled to start, they were like, let's just call it a day. Like, he's not showing up. Just a couple of hours later, Bobby was found dead inside his mom's Oldsmobile, parked in the lot next to his apartment.
Oh my God.
Before we get into the scene and who might have done this to him,
Okay.
Let's back it up. We're going to back it way up.
Back it way up.
Robert Gaston Fuller.
Ooh.
Very Beauty and the Beast of him.
Gaston.
Was born on October 22nd, 1942 in Goose Creek, Texas, which is about a half hour outside of Houston.
Okay.
His parents, Lawson and Lorraine, both had children from previous marriages. Lawson had a son and daughter with his ex-wife. They both lived with their mother and her new husband, who happened to be Lawson's boss. So it was a little scandaloso.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But Lawson did have visitation, so he would get to see his kids.
Okay, well, that's good.
But, like, how weird is that? Like, you're going over to your ex-wife's and your boss is...
Your boss is there?
Like, what?
That is a very tense situation.
Yeah. Prior to meeting and marrying Lawson, Lorraine had been living in El Paso with her then husband, and they had a son named Jack. Unfortunately, Jack's dad was an alcoholic and abusive.
Shit.
Lorraine knew she needed to get out of that situation,
Yes.
so she left El Paso altogether, taking Jack with her.
Good for her.
Yeah. Lorraine and Lawson married in 1936. Jack was about 6 years old. And for a few years, it was just the three of them, since Bobby wasn't born yet and Lawson's daughter and son lived with their mother and stepdad. But in the summer of 1941, tragedy struck. Lawson's son, Donnell, was riding in the car with his stepdad. His stepdad was speeding and lost control of the car. The car overturned and Donnell was killed.
No.
He was just 15 years old.
No. Oh, that's terrible.
This obviously devastated Lawson.
Yeah.
But just over a year later, in October of 1942, a little ray of hope entered the world in the form of Robert, or Bobby, Fuller. And just a little over a year after that, Bobby's little brother Randy came along in 1944. That same year, back in El Paso, Jack's biological father, so Lorraine's ex, died from tuberculosis and alcoholism at age 33.
Sorry, I was trying to like make a...
I get it.
That is terrible.
Yeah, that's really young. After that, Lorraine vowed never to step foot in El Paso again. She felt like there was just like a black cloud hanging over it. And to her, El Paso represented trauma and tragedy.
I mean, I get it. Like, she's just like, fuck El Paso.
Yeah.
This place is full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of there, girl.
I mean, she's out. Like, she left.
I know, but, you know, I mean, wave your, you know.
Wave goodbye in
goodbye.
The rearview mirror. Now, Jack was 12 and 13 years older than Bobby and Randy, so a fairly significant age gap. As kids, Jack got along with his younger siblings. He didn't mind babysitting them when necessary, and Bobby and Randy looked up to him. The person Jack didn't get along well with was Lawson, his stepfather. They often argued and got into fights, and whenever Lawson tried to discipline Jack, he'd just leave and go and stay with his grandparents on his mom's side, so Lorraine's parents.
Okay.
and they kind of let him do whatever he wanted. Randy says their grandparents felt sorry for Jack since he never had much of a relationship with his biological dad. So they would spoil him whenever he went to stay there. And according to Randy, they poisoned Jack against Lawson.
Oh, wow.
At least that's how Lawson felt.
Okay.
Like Jack would complain to them about Lawson and they would side with him. Like even though Lawson is their son-in-law. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Really shitty. Don't poison your kids against their family members.
We've talked about that a lot.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
This put a strain on Lawson and Lorraine's marriage, as you can imagine. The Fullers moved around a lot based on where Lawson's job took him. He worked in the oil fields, and he got Jack a job in the oil fields as well, hoping it would keep him out of trouble. But Jack ended up just getting into fights with the other workers, and he eventually got fired.
Damn.
Which, I mean, you kind of get it. Like, he had a rough childhood.
Sure.
It wasn't stable. A lot of instability going on. So Jack left and joined the Navy. And it was just Bobby and Randy with their parents. And Bobby and Randy became really close. They did everything together. Bobby was definitely the quieter, more introverted of the two. Whereas Randy was like, he's kind of a hothead and just like always ready to go.
Okay.
Lorraine said she didn't know where Bobby's obsession with music came from, but it showed up early. When he was 4 years old, he was out for a stroll with his family, and at one point, Lorraine and Lawson realized Bobby isn't walking next to them anymore.
Whoa.
Parents' worst nightmare. So they backtracked their steps, and luckily he hadn't gone far. They found him trailing behind a man who was singing, and Bobby was trying to sing along with him.
Oh.
So he's just like waddling behind them, like trying to keep up.
Sing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
He's like, I gotta go where the music takes me, mama.
Yeah.
He didn't say that. Or maybe he did.
Maybe he
wasn't
did.
There.
Mm-hmm.
By the following year, at 5 years old, he was already playing piano. Lorraine said music seemed to be the only thing he was interested in. When Bobby was in first grade, the family moved to Lubbock, Texas, again for Lawson's job. Lubbock is the hometown of Buddy Holly, who was in high school at this time. And Bobby would eventually grow to idolize Buddy Holly.
That's amazing.
He wanted to be just like him.
Yeah.
But the Fullers were only in Lubbock 2 years before Lawson's job caused them to move to Farmington, New Mexico. They moved around constantly.
Okay.
In Farmington, both Bobby and Randy were taking music lessons. Randy liked music, but at the time, he was more interested in sports. He wanted to be a football star. Speaking of football, this is coming out on Monday, which means the Bears played yesterday against the LA Rams. Here's hoping the Bears won. I hope they did. Matt bought me a Bears jersey because, as you know, I'm like super into football now as of 3 weeks ago.
I remember.
And so I've officially entered the fandom. I have my jersey. Maybe I'll post a pic. I don't know. But it's a thing. It's a thing now in my life.
You're a Bears fan, Kate.
Yes.
You're in it to win it.
I only know one player's name, but...
What's his name?
Caleb Williams.
Hey.
That's the jersey I got. He's the quarterback. I don't know all the lingo, but I'm learning.
First and down.
That's the thing they say.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It took me a long time to realize that the line they put on the field is not
I had to ask Matt.
real.
I had to ask Matt if that was real. It's like, is that painted on there? How are they doing that? God.
Okay, we can't go down this road.
No. Bobby wasn't really interested in sports. For him, it was all music all the time. He learned trumpet, drums, cornet, ukulele. Both he and Randy played piano, but like I just said, Randy wasn't as interested in music as Bobby and therefore didn't put as much effort into it. So Bobby naturally excelled. Whenever their parents would have friends over, they'd be like, Bobby, Randy, show our guests what you've been learning on the piano. And Bobby could perform a full-on concert for them. And then Randy would start playing, and it just wasn't the same.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. In the book, I Fought the Law, The Life and Strange Death of Bobby Fuller, which Randy co-wrote with Miriam Linna, he says that he was really insecure because Bobby seemed to overshadow him in everything related to music.
Okay.
And he said it didn't help his confidence that Bobby would tease him by telling him he wasn't as talented as him.
Okay, that's just mean.
I mean, a lot of sibling rivalry going on.
Sure. But poor Randy.
Then again, though, Bobby was the one really putting the work into it,
Sure.
and Randy was just kind of like half-assing it at that point. So
Bebopping along.
obviously, Bobby surpassed him.
Yeah.
Despite that sibling rivalry between them, they were really close, actually. Like Lubbock, Farmington was short-lived because Lawson's job transferred him to Salt Lake City, Utah. Did you move around a lot when you were a kid?
No.
I didn't either. Never had to move around. I can only imagine like how that's gotta mess with you as a kid.
Well, actually thinking about it now, we didn't move like states or towns that much, but we did move a few times to different houses.
But were you going to the same school?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like there were a couple times I had to change schools.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be so hard.
I appreciated it actually.
Because those kids were bitches?
Yeah, they were mean. They were bitch whores. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that.
These are children, Kevin.
Well, they should shut up.
Well.
Sorry.
Music, specifically jazz, was big at the schools in Salt Lake at the time. Randy said if you were a student, you either played music or you ran track. Those were your activities. Bobby immediately signed up for the school band playing the trumpet, but soon decided he wanted to be a drummer, so he learned drums. Lorraine, his mom, she said she never discouraged him from music because it was clear that that was going to be his path in life, but she was like, that drumming, that nearly drove me up a wall.
Oh, God. I can't imagine.
Because he would practice day in, day out, nonstop, just constant drumming at home.
Oh, no.
Paid off, though, because he became one of the best drummers in Salt Lake City. And his teacher told his parents, hey, you should really consider sending him to Juilliard when the time comes.
Yeah.
Like, he was that good. He was highly regarded as a drummer among other musicians. Everyone in the music scene in Salt Lake City knew who Bobby Fuller was. By 12 years old, keep in mind, he's very young.
12? I didn't even think of that. I thought we were into teenagers.
Nope, not yet. By 12 years old, Bobby was already forming bands. And when he entered high school, he played in a jazz trio as a drummer. He told his parents he was playing in a coffee shop, which was kind of true. They did serve coffee there. But it actually was a beatnik joint, so it had a bit more of a nightclub vibe. And Lawson Fuller was none too happy when he found out. He was like, son, your mother and I thought you were playing in a cute little cafe, not a nightclub. And Bobby was like, don't be such a square, Dad.
Squares.
Don't be such a square.
Don't be a square. Let's bring that back.
I read that one of his favorite expressions, like he didn't really curse much, but sorry, my headphones are falling off.
They're popping off today, literally.
They're a real mess. One of his favorite expressions, like when he was just like mad or something, he was like boogity boogity.
Oh, boogity boogity.
Boogity boogity.
There's an it's not old, it's from the 90s or early 2000s movie that was on Disney Channel. One of those Disney Channel movies that I love. And it was called Don't Look Under the Bed, I think. And it was about boogeymen.
Oh.
And like the whole underground world of like these boogeymen.
The boogity boogity.
Yeah, and I can't remember why, but they had this like boogie goo that like they played with and stuff. And I just remember them going, boogie goo. So when you said boogity boogity, in my head I went, boogie goo.
I also loved how you were like, it was a movie on Disney, one of those Disney movies. All right. With as much focus as he put on music, the opposite could be said of his schoolwork. Bobby didn't care for school. It bored him. And at one point, he was failing nearly every class.
Oh, shit.
But the other areas of school were going great.
Good.
He had a lot of friends. Girls loved him.
A musician.
I mean, and he loved the school's music program.
Good.
There were also a lot of outdoor activities to do. The Fullers bought a boat and they went out on a lake. They'd go water skiing and fishing. And their house in Salt Lake was pretty big. They had a decent amount of land. And Randy kept a lot of pet birds, mostly chickens, in the back. So you can imagine how upset Bobby and Randy were when their dad came home one day and said he was being transferred yet again, this time to El Paso.
Whoa.
Lorraine immediately burst into tears. She was like, we can't go back there. She's like, she didn't want to return to El Paso.
She said, fuck El Paso.
She
Get out of my life.
Like, bad vibes, bad energy. She didn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Randy didn't want to leave all his pet birds, and Bobby didn't want to leave his bands, his friends, the school's music program. He had barely just started high school. But they all knew it was an offer that Lawson couldn't really turn down. He'd be making a lot more money, and he'd be in more of a supervisor role at the El Paso Gas Company, working in an office as opposed to out in the oil fields.
Okay.
So alas, the family moved again.
God, I don't know. At that point, if I'm Lorraine, right, that's her name, I would just be like, go and do it, and then come and see us when you can.
Yeah, she wasn't happy about it, but family
Sure,
sticks together. At their new school in El Paso, both boys had a hard time keeping their grades up. Randy's grades took a nosedive, and Bobby was barely skating by. Bobby's musical talent, however, helped him win over the other students. So like one day there was a drum battle at the school, and some of the older students were taking turns trying to out-drum each other, and Bobby went up and he was like, hey, can I have a shot? And they kind of just laughed him off, like, who does this kid think he is?
Yeah.
He was a new student in town. He was only like 14 at the time, which made him one of the youngest in the high school. And they were just like, go away, kid, leave us alone. But Bobby was persistent to the point of begging. He was like, please give me a turn. So finally, mainly just to like shut him up, the other students were like, okay, fine, you can play if you leave us alone.
God.
They hand him the drumsticks. He sits down. He starts playing and blows every single one of them out of the water. Just as he had in Salt Lake City, Bobby quickly became known as one of the best drummers in El Paso. He wasn't satisfied with the school's band program, though, and talked his parents into letting him go to a different school that was known to have the best band around. Not only that, he became the assistant band director while still a student there.
Whoa.
So he actually taught the class whenever the band director was out.
That's wild.
Can you imagine like being a senior and sitting in band and like a freshman or sophomore is teaching your class?
No.
With Bobby at a different high school than him, Randy got pretty depressed. He wanted to play football, but his grades weren't good, and you had to have like a certain GPA to be on the football team. And he started getting into more and more trouble. Like he would get into a lot of fights. Bobby told him, you know, you're starting to act more and more like Jack, which Randy took as a compliment. Randy looked up to Jack, who was twice his age.
Sure.
So whenever Jack came to visit, the two of them would get into mischief together. Like Bobby usually, sometimes he'd participate, but he was, like I said, was the more introverted one. Randy and Jack, though, like they could cause some trouble. When Randy was 15 and Jack 29, the two of them went with their cousin across the border to Juarez, Mexico, which wasn't super uncommon then. They went to a nightclub. Remember, he's 15.
15.
Got really drunk, got into fights with other patrons, and Jack ended up getting arrested and thrown in jail while Randy and his cousin ran and escaped across the border.
Oh my God.
Wild times.
That's insane.
Yeah. Lawson, who'd always had a tense relationship with Jack anyway, was not too pleased when he had to go to Mexico to bail Jack out of jail.
Oh God.
The following year, Randy enrolled in military school as a way to try and get his grades up so he could qualify for the football team. While he was away, Bobby kept laser focused on his music. He got a job at a music store and added guitar to his list of instruments he learned to play.
Ooh.
I mean, he could essentially pick up anything, any instrument, and have it mastered within months.
Wow. That's a huge talent.
He also built a home studio in his parents' house while still in high school.
This kid is the definition of go-getter.
Yes.
Just like
driven. And it's not like his parents had some mansion. I mean, it was like a modest 3-bed, 2.5-bath house. The recording studio was in the den. The control booth was in the back of the attached garage. And they had to cut a hole in the wall between the den and the garage to put in a window so that Bobby could communicate with whoever was on the other side. He even made a makeshift echo chamber that ran the length of the house on the outside. It was like this giant 40-foot long concrete slab.
Whoa.
This is how you know he had supportive parents, because they were just like, you got to cut a hole in the den wall? All right, I guess. Need any help?
Go for it.
Like, they kind of just let him do what he needed to do. I think also they just saw that, like, there's no point in stopping him. Like, he's clearly, this is his path.
Could probably also see them being a little bit more lenient just because things keep changing and it's kind of hard.
Possibly, yeah. Despite the constant loud music coming from the home, neighbors were mostly okay with it. There was only one time that someone called the cops, complaining about the noise. But when the cops showed up, they heard the music and were like, oh, this song slaps. And they stayed and rocked out.
Hey, those coppers looking for a good time.
Bobby even started his own record label. He was becoming somewhat of a celebrity in town and had begun billing himself as the rock and roll king of the Southwest. He was in demand when it came to other bands. People would ask Bobby to fill in or play on a record. He was constantly, like I said in the beginning, trying out new musicians as he worked to put his own band together. And he would record music under his own label. Then he would take that music to DJs around town and they'd play it on the local radio stations. He was interviewed in the local paper. He was becoming a big deal.
Damn.
And his home recording studio was something to envy. He would often invite other bands to come over and use it, which they couldn't resist, obviously. Yeah. And it was smart on his part because he wanted to hear what other musicians were coming up with. Anyone that he looked at as like his competition, he wanted to study them and learn from them and then play better than them, which he did.
Yeah.
Around this time, Bobby recorded his hit, I Fought the Law. Like I said, he didn't write it. It was originally written by Sonny Curtis of the Crickets. The Crickets were Buddy Holly's band. But it's Bobby's version that became popular.
Yes.
At the beginning of 1961, Bobby had just started college in Texas. He did not go to Juilliard, but he started college and Randy was still in high school. On Sundays, the whole family, including Jack, would get together for dinner. But on the evening of Sunday, February 5th, Lorraine had a bad feeling. Randy walked into the kitchen and sees her with this worried expression on her face, and he asks, what's wrong? And she looks at him and she says, I wonder where Jack is. And Randy was like, probably on his way here for dinner. And Lorraine said, he's late. He would have called. They hadn't even started eating yet. Like, she had just finished cooking, so he wasn't really late. And Bobby said he'll be here. He can't call if he's on his way. And around that time, Lawson gets home and he says, hey, what's for dinner? And Bobby says something like, oh, nothing yet. We're waiting on Jack. And as Lawson turned and walked away, Randy heard him mutter under his breath, something bad is going to happen.
Oh, no.
Jack never did show up for dinner that night. And Lorraine was beside herself. She was in tears all night. She couldn't sleep. And she just kept saying, something awful has happened to Jack. So Lawson, Bobby, and Randy stayed up with her to try and comfort her. And Randy was like, he probably went to Juarez and got drunk. Because he's thinking, shit, did he land himself in jail again?
Mm-hmm.
Would not be uncommon for Jack.
Right.
But she just kept repeating, no, something awful has happened to Jack. Eventually, she tired herself out. Like, she kind of cried herself to sleep, basically. So the others finally went to sleep as well. Maybe an hour went by when suddenly Lorraine woke up screaming.
Oh, my God.
Randy and Bobby ran into their parents' room, and Lorraine told them, I saw his spirit at the foot of the bed. Jack said he was hit in his head, and it killed him. And they all were like, yeah, that's a bad dream. Like, you just had a bad dream that wasn't real. But she kept screaming, no, he's dead. I know it. I saw his spirit at the foot of the bed. Lorraine was inconsolable. So the next morning, Lawson called the doctor and had him write a prescription for a sedative to help her relax. And then he started calling around to see if he could find out anything. He called the hospital to see if maybe Jack had been in an accident. He called the police. He and Randy even went to Juarez while Bobby stayed back with his mom to see if Jack was at a bar or in jail. But there was no sign of him anywhere.
Ooh.
When they got back home from Juarez, Lawson filed a missing persons report.
Okay.
3 weeks went by before they finally got a call from detectives with some news. And it wasn't good.
Wasn't good. Damn it.
They hadn't found Jack, but they had found his car. And it was being driven by someone who wasn't Jack.
Oh, no.
Police questioned 21-year-old Roy Handy about why he was driving this car. And he said he had bought it from Jack and didn't know what happened to Jack after that. The police weren't buying it. They felt like this guy had done something to Jack. So they brought him in for questioning. But he stuck to his story. That's when police went to the Fuller's house and asked Lawson, this is wild, They asked Lawson if he would come in and talk to Handy to try and get him to confess to whatever he might have done to Jack.
What?
Exactly. Like, what? They suspect this man of foul play. So they go to the father of the man they think could have been killed. And they're like, hey, yeah, we think your stepson was murdered, but the guy just isn't confessing. Can you help us out with that?
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Like, the fact, like, just to have that burden on him and to even get that news, for one.
Sure.
But Lawson agreed. I think he felt he owed it not only to Jack, but also to Lorraine. So on what happened to be Lorraine's birthday, Lawson sat across from Roy Handy in an interrogation room and asked him point blank, "Did you kill my son?" Handy denied it at first, but eventually confessed to killing Jack and said where they could find his body.
No.
Jack and Roy Handy had met the Sunday morning that Jack was supposed to have dinner with his family. So, like, they had just met that morning. They'd randomly struck up a conversation and seemed to have a lot in common, so they decided to hang out that day and go shooting out in the desert for target practice. In the car on the drive out there, Handy noticed what looked like $1,000 bills stuffed above Jack's sun visor, and he was like, damn, this guy's loaded. So out in the desert, they took turns setting up targets for the other to shoot at. And after Jack set up the targets, Handy turned the gun on him and opened fire.
No.
The first shot hit Jack in the back of the arm, so he starts running away like, what the fuck? Then Handy shot again, hitting him in the back 2 or 3 times, at which point Jack went down. And then Handy walked up to him and shot him once more in the back of the head. And if you remember, Lorraine kept saying that Jack's spirit came to her saying he'd been hit in the back of his head.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Ugh.
Handy then took off with Jack's car and what he thought was thousands of dollars, but it turned out it was only play money that Jack had bought for a kid that lived next door to him.
Oh my God.
So, for absolutely nothing.
For no fucking reason.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that anyone should have a reason to shoot anyone in the back of the head, but God damn.
Lawson had to break the news to his family, and Lorraine had a complete breakdown. One night, she got out of bed in the middle of the night, left her house, and walked to the highway. As a car approached, she jumped in front of it, attempting to kill herself. However, the driver stopped in time and got out and helped her and escorted her back home.
Oh my God.
After that, she was admitted to a hospital and went through a series of shock treatments.
Ooh.
So she was there for several weeks before returning home and stayed in a deep depression for a long time.
Okay, that's really tough. And especially to take it to shock treatment, like that's real bad. That's kind of like worst case scenario.
And it's like
treatment.
Everything that she worried about was coming true. Like they went back to El Paso.
Yeah, she can't catch a fucking break.
A couple of months after Jack's death, Bobby dropped out of college. He didn't like the music program there and said he wanted to try a college closer to his parents. But he didn't go. Instead, he just focused on music. And I think also like Jack's death probably ignited a little fire in him. Like, if I'm going to do something, I got to do it now kind of thing.
I could see that.
Supposedly, he was engaged to a girl at that college too, so she wasn't too happy that he never went back.
Shit.
Yeah. One thing about Bobby, I don't really go into it in here, but he did not have trouble with the ladies.
Well, I mean...
engaged multiple times. He impregnated multiple girls.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Okay.
While engaged to another woman. A lot there.
Messy. Yikes.
I mean, he was living that rock star life, I guess.
You drum away.
Randy kept getting in trouble at school and ended up dropping out. While Randy was feeling pretty hopeless, Bobby kept plugging away. In El Paso, Bobby was a very big fish in a small pond, and he was ready to broaden his horizons.
Ooh.
In 1963, Bobby decided to go to Los Angeles in the hopes of meeting with a record company. He brought along his brother Randy and 2 other musicians to form a complete band because he wanted to play some gigs out there if he could. And they got pretty lucky because not long after arriving in California, they met 2 brothers who were booking agents looking for a band to play at the Hermosa Biltmore Hotel, which was right on the beach. Surf music was the jam at the time.
Ooh.
Some of the big surf songs of that year, 1963, were Surf City by Jan and Dean. They came up in our episode about Frank Sinatra Jr. Wipeout by the Safaris.
Wipeout.
And Surfin' USA by the Beach Boys.
I was just going to say Surfin' USA when you said surfing music.
Yep. The Beach Boys had just released their debut album less than a year prior to Bobby and his band coming to LA. So as surf music was growing in popularity, Bobby began incorporating some of that sound into his own music.
Okay.
And because the hotel where they performed was right on the beach, all the surfers who'd been out in the water all day would end their evening at the hotel listening to Bobby and his band. And they were really popular. Like, people went crazy for them.
Have you ever surfed?
No, I would not do well.
I've never tried. I don't have that. I've done boogie board.
I'm not really one with water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I mean, I did live in LA and I did go to the beach. I didn't enjoy
get in
it.
The ocean. Oh, you didn't enjoy it?
No, I hated beach day. And anytime that anyone would come to visit me, they always wanted to go to the beach. I'm not a fan.
I get it. I understand.
Yeah, so I'm probably not going to try surfing.
That's okay.
Bobby and his band ended up competing in and winning a battle of the bands at the Rendezvous Ballroom, which was a huge dance club. It was a major venue back then. The musician in residence at the time was Dick Dale, nicknamed King of the Surf Guitar. Dick Dale was a pioneer in surf music. He basically invented it. He's a legend.
Wow.
So, like, tons of musicians have been inspired by him and influenced by him, and it all goes back to Dick Dale because he kind of started that whole movement. And Bobby and his band got to see Dick Dale perform there. This was a transformative experience for Bobby. Not only was he witness to this incredible musician who would go on to influence guitarists like Jimi Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen, but he saw how Dale was able to attract huge crowds who were there solely to listen to music and dance. It was a much younger and exciting crowd than those that they were playing for at the hotel. Since they were essentially the hotel's house band, the hotel let them stay there for free. So it wasn't like a horrible deal. Like,
no.
You can't really get a much better deal than that, especially when you've never been to LA and you're just kind of like winging it.
Winging it.
On their days off, they drive around Hollywood, going from one record label to the next in the hopes of getting a meeting. They went to Capitol Records, which is who the Beach Boys were with. Liberty Records, who had Jan and Dean. RCA, basically every label in the city. It was rare if they made it past reception. So it was a lot of just like dropping off their record that Bobby had recorded in his home studio back in El Paso.
Oh, man, it's like in Coyote Ugly when she drops all her demos and tapes off at the record agencies.
Coyote Ugly came up very recently in another episode.
I texted you because they're doing a musical.
Oh, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
They did manage to get a meeting with Bob Keane, head of Delphi Records. Bob Keane had been Ritchie Valens' manager up until Valens' death in 1959, when the plane he was on crashed on what is known as the day the music died. Valens died alongside fellow musicians J.P., the Big Bopper Richardson, and of course, Buddy Holly. Pilot Roger Peterson was also killed. So that's just like a little...
Got it. Little offshoot.
Side note. The meeting between Keane and Bobby's band wasn't entirely unproductive. He didn't sign them right there, but he listened to their record and told the group, "There's something here, but I don't hear a hit record yet." He told them, "Go home, give it a year or so, work on your craft, and then come back and see me." So Bobby's feeling a bit dejected at this point.
Sure.
And in an effort to raise everyone's spirits, they drove out to the Rendezvous Ballroom. They were hoping to just like listen to some music, dance it out. And Bobby was hoping that Dick Dale would be there so he could talk to him, but unfortunately he wasn't. However, as Bobby looked around the club, he got an idea. He said, "We need something like this in El Paso, a place where teens can come and dance and listen to music, something for the under 21 crowd, where parents would feel comfortable letting their kids hang out there knowing, there's not going to be alcohol, like they're just with kids their age." Also because Bobby and his bandmates weren't old enough to drink yet, so they couldn't necessarily play in like the bars and stuff yet. After all the rejection in LA, the idea of having his own club where his band could be in residency, he could play whenever he wanted, as much as he wanted, it was appealing. That evening, Randy got into a fight with those two brothers who were their booking agents at the hotel. The brothers were mad because Randy had stolen all their beer, so Randy retaliated by throwing a beer bottle at one of them and beating up the other one.
Okay.
The next day, Bobby and his band headed back to El Paso.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's probably for the best.
Bobby was determined to start his own teen club. And when he found a vacant space located within a shopping center, his parents helped him get a loan and sign a lease for Bobby Fuller's Teen Rendezvous.
I love it. It's almost like the Corny Collins show from Hairspray.
But he also named it the same name as the club in LA. So no points for creativity.
No.
But he did it. He had a stage built, a sound system installed. And by December of 1963, Bobby's club was open. He made all this happen within like 4 months of leaving LA and coming back to El Paso.
Wow.
The club was a huge hit. It was always packed. It was also short-lived. Fights were breaking out constantly. You've got a bunch of sweaty, hormonal teens and this adrenaline-pumping music. So the vibe was always charged. And despite not selling alcohol, teens found a way to bring alcohol into the club. Randy was also ready to get in a fight at any moment. He hit one club goer in the back of the head with his bass, and he pulled a gun on another. So he's a little unhinged. Cops were threatening to shut it down if any more fights broke out.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just going to be violent, then like, what the fuck?
In the summer of 1964, 2 of the band members quit because they got offered more money with a different band. And the El Paso Federation of Musicians filed charges against Bobby for failing to file contracts, failure to pay the required work dues, and playing with non-union members without clearance. So kind of rules that you're supposed to follow if you're gonna have a club.
Yeah, and he's not even 21 yet, right?
No. Or actually, let's see. He had just turned 21, essentially.
Well, even still, like, he made it happen, but without much forethought.
Yes. He kind of went for it and was like, I'll worry about the details later. Additionally, the landlord of the shopping center wanted to raise the rent on the space, which the band couldn't afford. So the writing was on the wall for the club.
Yeah.
It closed just 7 months after opening.
7 months of fighting and music and
dancing and sweat,
jumping and singing. I don't know why I said it like that.
During that time that it was open, in addition to like being the club's house band, Bobby was still writing music. He was recording in his studio, playing gigs at other venues. Bobby and his band even played for President Lyndon Johnson when he came into town. LBJ. And the song they sang was the Beatles' She Loves You, but they changed the words to We Love You, LBJ.
Oh, that's cute. Look at that.
That was one of their last gigs in El Paso.
Okay.
Not because they sing that song, but just because it was...
The president was like, fuck off.
He was like, you should choose a different career.
Absolutely not.
Bobby wanted to start over with a new club in a new space. But this time, Lorraine and Lawson were like, I don't know about that. They weren't willing to co-sign a loan. And Randy was really itching to go back to LA. He was like, Bobby, we've played every place here that there is. It's time to move on. Let's give LA another shot. So Bobby agreed. Only this time around, his mom, Lorraine, went with them.
Oh.
Lawson had to travel all the time for his job, and he didn't want her to be alone at the house all the time. Plus, she was like, this way I can be there to help the boys when they need it. Even though Bobby and Randy were adults at this time, technically, she's still worried about them. She wanted to look after them. And the brothers were actually all for it. It's very Andrea Swift to be. Taylor Swift's mom.
Oh, I didn't know her name was Andrea.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'll travel with you and I'm going to stay with you and we're going to make this happen. So in November of 1964, they all rode together in Lorraine's Oldsmobile. Lorraine, Bobby, and Randy. And Bobby had recruited 2 band members to accompany them as well, Dwayne Carrico and Jim Reese. The first gig they got was for a big dance event put together by famed DJ Casey Kasem. Kasem was one of their earliest supporters. He said of the band, quote, they were just great. Always upbeat, rehearsed, fantastic. Bobby had that magnetic charm turned on all the time. The Bobby Fuller 4 were always one of my top groups from the early days that they arrived in Hollywood to the day Bobby was killed. And even after that, their sound really stood the test of time.
Wow. Okay, Casey.
The band auditioned at the Rendezvous, the club that had inspired Bobby to start his own, and they impressed the owner so much, they became the house band, performing 4 nights a week. That was a big deal.
Hey.
And those were huge shows because I read that it could hold up to 4,000 dancers.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Bobby felt this would get the attention of Bob Keane, the owner of Delphi Records, who had told him to come back after a year. Keane was interested, but his company was falling apart. He was struggling financially. Not a great sign if you're Bobby Fuller and you're hoping to sign a record deal.
No.
In literally every source I read, anytime someone described Bob Keane, it was in a negative way.
Oof.
Joyce, Dwayne Carrico's girlfriend at the time, said of Keane, quote, "I didn't like him. In fact, I hated him the minute I met him. He shook my hand and I wanted to peel my skin off and soak it in acid."
Ew, damn, girl.
She said nothing that came out of his mouth was the truth.
I can, make that picture of that person in my head.
Yeah.
I know exactly what she's talking about.
But Bobby was desperate. He so badly wanted to be with a label that when he saw Keane's studio was in disrepair and the recording equipment was unusable, he went back to El Paso, packed up all his own equipment, and brought it to Keane's so they'd have something reliable to record on. When you have to supply the recording equipment for your record label, probably best to run in the opposite direction.
He's ignoring a lot of red flags here.
Yeah. Keane needed money. His label was failing, so he brought in 2 investors to bail him out, and together they formed a new company and label, Mustang Records. From the start, Keane and Bobby were not a great fit.
Fuck.
While Bobby wanted to remain true to the sound he'd already established, which was very similar to Buddy Holly, Keane wanted to turn the band into something it wasn't. The Bobby Fuller 4 were rock and roll, but Keane promoted the sound as new country. Oh, and another influence of Bobby's was Elvis, huge. So you look at Buddy Holly, you look at Elvis, that's not new country. And that was Bobby's sound. So it was like Keane just wasn't getting it.
Yeah.
He also changed their image by dressing the guys in matching suits and hiring celebrity stylist J.C. Bring to do their hair in a short, combed-back style. Not very rock and roll. And if the name J.C. Bring sounds familiar, he was one of the ones killed alongside Sharon Tate by the Manson family.
Oh, shit. I knew I had heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not the first time Manson is going to come up in the Bobby Fuller story. In terms of recordings, Keane loved adding in elements to produce varying effects that you couldn't reproduce live.
Sure.
And Bobby wanted no part of that. He wanted their live performances to be as good as or better than their studio recordings, not the other way around, when you've got all these sound effects on the record that are then missing in the live performance. Bobby had a very clear vision of the image and career he was trying to carve out for himself. And Keane basically did everything that was in complete opposition to that.
Okay.
Keane was also into gimmicks, whatever he thought could make money. There was a popular TV show called Shindig, and Keane was like, I know, let's change your name to the Shindigs, and maybe that'll make producers want to put you on as the show's house band.
Keane?
No, they're the Bobby Fuller 4.
Yeah. He
also got them a quote-unquote, role as a band in the film The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini.
What's that about?
Well, not much.
Okay.
It starred Nancy Sinatra and Boris Karloff. We should probably watch it.
I need to see this now.
Which at first the guys were like, sweet, we're going to be in a movie. But it wasn't what they expected. Number one, they weren't going to be playing their own songs. They were performing someone else's music that had been created for the movie. 2, they weren't allowed to use their own equipment. So when they get to set, they had brought all their own instruments and amps, but production took those away and said, no, you have to use this Vox equipment instead. The guys hated Vox. They only used Fender gear, but they were like, okay, I guess. And then 3, they were supposed to lip sync to everything and fake play the instruments. So the guys are like, what the fuck is this? Well, they got their answer sometime later. When Vox used their scene from the film in marketing material as a way to promote Vox products without the guy's permission. The whole thing had just been a deal Keen had set up. The guys were like, we would have never promoted Vox. Like, we hated their stuff. It's not what we used, but it made it look like
that they were promoting that brand.
Yeah. Needless to say, Bobby and Keen butted heads a lot.
I would say.
And Keen had to have known Bobby's patience with him was wearing thin. So when Bobby missed that important meeting on July 18th, 1966, a recording session that the band members knew might also be a discussion with Keen about their contract, many speculated that perhaps Keen had something to do with the fact that Bobby was found dead just hours later. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
Right.
It's just one of many theories that we'll talk about in part 2. I'll also tell you everything we know about Bobby's final moments, how he was found, what state he was in when he was found. Part 2, we'll get into the death itself, how the mob might be involved.
The mob.
They probably are involved. A possible Manson theory.
Ooh.
Why the manner of death on the autopsy report was later changed, and why this was definitely not a suicide like police claimed.
Well, hot damn. Hot diggity damn.
Yeah. So you'll have to tune in next week to hear the rest of that. And in the meantime, you can leave your comments on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify at
Horrorwood Podcast.
Or you can send us an email at
horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
Or you could be like Melody or Glenn again over on Patreon at
patreon.com/horrorwoodpodcast.
So the reason that sounds funny is because we cut what just happened, which was Kevin sneezed right on cue. Perfect timing. Or you can subscribe to those bonus episodes on YouTube or on, what's the other one?
Apple
subscriptions.
Yes. I'm excited for part 2.
Woo!